It's a working Saturday night here on Free Enterprise. We have got rexxraul versus CountZearro getting ready to start off here. I am Questifer Workin, joined by Hupfin. How you doing tonight, Hupfin?
I'm doing pretty well. How have you been?
I'm doing pretty darn good. Thank you so much for asking. So, what are you looking forward to tonight, Hupfin?
Well, I see we've got a reasonable start, and that we've got a Kane on our hands. I really want to see Edward join him. And then, just a little bit of Tella, maybe. And then throw in some Sid, because, he's good and beefy. It really helps the team out.
Always. Looks like rexxraul is a WWE fan, if you can catch the references. Renaming his characters. But we should be getting underway here pretty quickly. So everything, we should be getting to go. What kind of maybe a mystery partner are we looking for? What about some spicy objectives? What do you think we're gonna get?
I love the objective sets that either look really easy and then end up being a big challenge, or the opposite. Just something that throws the runners for a loop. If we get 3 boss hunts, but then, that's the 3 that we fight at Mount Ordeals, sure, it's easy, but anything to trip up our runners here and there.
So you want some flavor of troll seed, is what I'm hearing. Am I right?
I want troll, but I don't necessarily want to hurt these runners. They're both sitting at 0-2 in this Swiss round, and you're kind of fighting for your tournament life here. So,
And that has got to be the most interesting troll to begin with I have ever seen. We find our dupe character, and it's Dupe Kane. So we're going to be looking for some Avenger swords straight out of the gate.
Well, if we're character hunting, that cleans one thing up. But yeah,
we're definitely not going to be looking for Kane, I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah. And really, you just have to worry about, how are you going to handle all the betrayal?
Is it possible that they stab each other in the back? I mean, is that a thing?
I can think about the physics of it. While I think about the fact that we have to get both Edward and Porum, along with returning the Pan, doing the Fabul Gauntlet, doing the defense, and didn't actually catch what the 5th one was.
I missed it as well, but yeah. And the nice thing is with the specific character hunt flags, is you don't actually have to take them into your party. You just have to find them. 5th objective being defeat the Dark Elf in dragon form. So we got 1 boss hunt, one key item hunt, 1 fairly easy objective to knock out straight out of the gate, and a couple of character hunts. So are you going to be looking to find Edward and Porum early, and do you put off the defense of Fabul until you find the Pan, because you're going to find it?
That's a very valid question. I feel like with 2 character hunts, you're going to try to prioritize those things that get you characters as much as possible. Right now, we really are lacking on the key items, so we're not in much of a position to decide, but we'll see if we gather a few and that steers them in one direction or another.
Yeah, looks like rexxraul is already going into the shop. He's going to be ditching some of that low-level gear that he's found, hoping. Soma. Yeah, nothing supremely amazing outside of those Soma drops. It looks like he's a fan of the kamikazes. Those can be helpful in certain situations.
Yeah, especially if you're not rolling any meaningful white mages and you run up against Plague, it gives you a little bit of breathing room in that fight.
Yeah, and that's definitely a way to reset up the count against once you find Plague, if we end up finding Plague at some point in the seed. Looks like both of our runners taking out the traditional loot route. Looks like they. I didn't see it, but I think they skipped over Village Mist.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
fairly standard opening from both of our runners. CountZearro just a little bit ahead because he did not re-enter Baron to check that shop.
Although he is going to go and pull up the hovercraft just as a head start for when they get the hook.
Meanwhile, it looks like rexxraul is headed straight to Mount Hobbs. He's hoping not to have to deal with the hook this seed. By skipping that the activation of the hovercraft.
Yeah, we're starting to see our proper divergence. CountZearro heading over, going to do a bit more looting, and rexxraul clearing our first objective, getting a Porum on Hobbs.
Yeah, nice, easy start. Early access to a white mage. It's Porum. It's not the white. It's not Bay white mage in Rosa, but it's you'll take whatever white mage you can get, especially early on. Meanwhile, CountZearro has chosen to dive, Troya Treasury, minus the Earth Crystal, so missing out on quite a few, but trying to pick up some key equipment here. And find silk webs in the item shop, as well as those Thor rages. Those will help out if he finds an early alt Gauntlet or an early Cagnazzo.
Or an early Odin. But it looks like we are not going to be running much black magic with this group so far, so any kind of spell items, any of those J items, those are going to have some extra value until we start getting some magic casters going.
Very true. Picking up some ethers and life potions in the past shop, and then going back for silk webs, and then before he takes his leave of Troya. Oh, looks like he's heading for the secret chests. Without exits, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this. Oh, never mind. Finding a Dragoon armor and some other good stuff. Looks like it's going to be worth it early on here for CountZearro.
Yeah, we have not been finding the greatest of gear, so arcanes are reasonable, but not in very good shape. That Dragoon gear, though, that's going to beef them up. That's going to make it a lot safer to take on these early fights.
Black belts in the armor shop. Meanwhile, rexxraul has chosen to dive Antlion Cave, continuing on with a fairly traditional opening here.
Yeah, I would say rexxraul right now is playing the seed how I would be playing it, which is an effective route, but not going to be very special. You're kind of leaning on finding good treasure like that Gungnir, as a matter of course. As opposed to CountZearro, who's really hunting it down, trying to get himself in a great position before rushing all this stuff.
Very, very true. Both strategies absolutely viable. Because they're, obviously CountZearro is going to be checking Mount Hobbs here very quickly, picking up his Porum. Otherwise, he's just going to be a little bit behind objective-wise, but he's going to have a lot more gear to go with it.
Yes, it's that classic notion of, spending a little bit of time to try to save a lot more later. And also just getting a lot of good information on what's in all these shops.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things that you have to keep an eye out on, especially when you're looking for some of those basic items. Even some of the advanced items like your hourglasses, your Bacchus wines, and your sirens. And Star Veils, those are going to be real important. if we ever run across a Bahamut or a surprise Wyvern, because no matter what level you are, Mega Nuke is still Mega Nuke.
It very much is.
And rexxraul finds an evil wall in the Antline Cave. I'm a poet and didn't even know it.
Good show. Fortunately, this is not a very swift location, so should be easy to handle.
And with only 1,000 hit points, even with this somewhat low gear, a couple of jumps, and the wall is going to crumble. DJ ATC, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you for your support of Free Enterprise. And that's what we didn't want to see that early. It opens up a character spot and gives us underground access, but we're still going to be a ways out from really deep diving the underground with that hook. Now the question is rexxraul going to grab the hovercraft and get his free character check and check that shop, or is he going to put it off for a while?
Well, that's a very valid question. I feel like there's not too much left on the overworld that you really want to rush. You've got Mount Ordeals, but you don't have a Cecil or a Tella, so not a huge deal. You've got the Fabul, you might be one to take it early. Looks like rexxraul is, but that's also knowing that we need the pan, something you might hold till later. So looks like Rex is going to continue on a fairly standard route.
Yeah, not much deviation from the traditional opener, despite what key items he's been given. Now, and especially without Cecil or Tella to really incentivize Mount Ordeals, the only real reason you would go up there is hunting for that Dark Elf.
Yeah, or if you stumble into a Foo and you need just more boss clears to power him up.
I don't think either of these runners would turn down a Foo at this point. And who knows, the king may be holding on to some royal cookware, as pointed out by Chant.
Very well could be. Just have to wait through the invading royalty. Let them, let them do their thing. Although getting a kill on the king is pretty weak location.
Well, killing the king really helps to speed up the fight because it's only one or two ticks of the game clock after the king is no longer on the table for the queen to just off herself. And then, a crystal sword at Fabul. We're really going to be hoping and praying and seeing, is Cecil going to be in Cave Eblin?
Yeah, and that makes CountZearro's pull of a lightsaber over in the Watery Pass just not as valuable, which is surprising.
Yeah, he's deep diving this waterfall cave a lot further than I would really expect. It's almost like he's going to go straight for the end, pull the boss, but without I didn't see it, and if he doesn't have a source of exit, I'm really questioning this play. It doesn't make any sense to me.
He did purchase some exits. He found them, I believe, in Mysidia.
Okay, so that adds a little bit more sense to it, but he's even with 2 light swords, we know that our duplicate character is Kane. So unless we find an edge, they're just cash in hand.
Yeah, it's just money or throw fodder for an edge.
this is definitely something worth asking him, what his thought process was behind that. So
Yeah, I mean, at the end of it, CountZearro is going to be much richer on resources, but that doesn't get you very far if you aren't clearing the objectives.
the resources are great, but if you're if you're going to end, if it costs you, he's been in there at least 2-3 minutes, which in the grand scheme of things, 2 or 3 minutes isn't a whole lot of time, but 2-3 minutes here, 2-3 minutes there, all of a sudden you're 20-30 minutes behind.
Yeah. But I was saying earlier, these runners, they're 0-2. You pretty much have to pull 3-2 to have any chance of making the bracket stage. So you're kind of playing for your life if you want to stay in the tournament. And that's the time to start pulling out the esoteric strats.
Yeah, if there's any point in time to gamble, now's it. It's just, I really don't think it's going to pay off for CountZearro, at least in the short term. To answer a question in chat, yes, this was a double cane start. CountZearro, fighting pulling up the waterfall boss, seeing that it's just the 3 dark imps, not a spot you want to see that level, that kind of a free boss, and he takes the reset out.
I'm going to swing over and check the Mist Cave, looking for the other pretty weak slot. Hoping that it's the Dark Elf, and it's not. It's 3 sisters.
Yeah, Maga Sisters, not a bad place to really find them, especially if you need to kill them. But it's nice to know they're not going to be in one of the more painful spots. So CountZearro should be happy with that little bit of knowledge he's earned. Ooh, Poison Axe in Silvaria. I'm a little surprised rexxraul didn't grab one in case we find a Sid later on. But he's got some decent weapons already for his canes, so he's probably just thinking, I'll save the cash and use it where somewhere else where I might need it.
Yeah, in a race situation in particular, there's not much appeal to, min-maxing too hard.
Yeah, as long as you've got enough power to get, by where you're going, you're good enough. And there are those exits in Mysidia. Expect to get those, a couple of those for rexxraul here pretty quick. It was those star veils he was after.
A little column A, a little column B. Those star veils, like you mentioned, very valuable against certain bosses, and even against other ones, just helpful, handy, good to have.
Looks like CountZearro is retracing rexxraul steps, going through the Antline Cave. Now kind of, as I would think, a little bit back on track. Gonna kick himself a little bit now that he's found that Gungnir Spear. And rexxraul is going to be going after Calbrenna in the, as I call it, Magic Guard spot here in the Barren Inn.
Yeah, I gotta put those Thor Rages to use. Take these enemies out in one fell swoop. They're not very strong. You're more worried about the second stage.
Yeah, even with doing less than 100 damage per, with that many enemies and that few hit points in that spot, it's not bad. And speak of the evil one himself, there is Plague.
This is going to be a tricky one to manage. We'll see if rexxraul has enough damage, or just throw Porum's body at it.
He's got a couple of Bacchus ones. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't go that route and just overload the stack, because he's not gonna. Yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
The count going off before he could refresh the count.
That is just a very fast count.
Oh, and mismenuing on the life, or misinputting.
That's a bit rough.
Looks like rexxraul either wiped or reset out of it. My stream decided it wanted to go a little potato-y for a minute.
Yeah, unfortunately I had the same problem there. I suspect it was a wipe.
Most likely.
That misclick would do it.
Yeah, I mean, it may not have been a wipe. It might have been, with that kind of misclick, or just a reset out. Meanwhile, CountZearro picking up the hook from that antlion cave. We'll see if he makes the bold play and goes for picking up that character in Eblan Cave.
Yeah, but first has to go get that crystal sword off of Fabul.
Yeah, rexxraul either needs to slow down his battle speed, or he needs to come at this with a different approach, because same results.
Now, would this be a spot where managing your agility anchor has any weight?
Kind of, but it's so low level. Really, you're better off actually having a faster agility anchor rather than a slower one, because number one, Plague's not doing any damage. So you want to try and get as many turns out as possible. And I really and truly think that he's better off just Bacchusing one of his canes, or just holding A and to try and get those inputs in as fast as possible, and overloading the stack so those counts can never go off. So this tick 0 fatal count can never go off.
Of course, if I'm rexxraul and if this doesn't pan out, if he takes another wipe, I would just head to Ordeals or head through Cave Eblan, somewhere to get some more levels.
Yeah, rexxraul coming across some severe issues with this plague fight, having problems getting damage dealt, having problems keeping his party alive. Yeah, I agree. If he wipes again, he needs to go somewhere else, get some more levels, get some more damage, get another character.
But no, it does manage to get through the plague fight, and will pick up Iridia for his efforts, and a tower key.
So no keyless tower tonight. So as soon as they get underground, I fully expect them to to attack that lower tower of Babel.
Yeah, no reason not to at this point. But you're also looking pretty light on opportunities for a magma key. So you're probably thinking, okay, it's a hook seed. I'm just gonna do the route.
Yeah, but hook seed with these low levels and these characters, I would definitely hit up Ordeals if for nothing else than the free experience, as well as maybe find that dark elf and take care of another objective. Maybe pull a twofer and get the pan as well.
Yeah, 3 bosses, 1 key item, so you're leaning more on the boss hunt, but we are still looking for one of each.
So outside of the dark elf, tell me what kind of bosses you would like to see up here on Mount Ordeals if you're rexxraul.
Honestly, I would want. I don't think I want any of the free bosses, because this isn't going to be a very dangerous setup. Maybe one in the back attack. CPU would be pretty acceptable.
See, I disagree. I would not want to fight CPU. Just too annoying of a boss, and you really, for me, based on what I'm seeing, I don't think he's really got the damage output to make to deal with CPU in a timely fashion. Even though he does have both Palom and Rydia set up for it. And first go round, we find Dark Knight Cecil, which means poor Rydia is just going to be eaten stone.
Yeah, afraid so. But his Dark Wave is not doing nearly enough to be a problem for the rest of the party, so this is going to be pretty free.
Oh, that life potion went off a little too early. So he's gonna. Yep, there he goes. Rydia is going to go ahead and get the experience. So nice timing, nice adjustment by rexxraul.
Yeah, that can often be a problem with Rydia, is just keeping her alive through that first fight to get those first couple of levels. Starting off at level 1 and so little HP.
Exactly, and rexxraul masterfully navigated the situation. CountZearro heading into his DKC fight at this point in time. No Rydia to worry about, so he's just going to sit there and tank the damage while rexxraul heals up and gets ready for the back attack.
Doing the Mount Ordeal shuffle over there. And finding Rubicon from behind.
This is not great.
There are worse elements, there are better elements, but still, you don't like to see that glare.
No, that glare is just not something you want to see. Hopefully, he's going to get some free damage and some free healing with that Sylph cast. So good on rexxraul for doing that. But he's got to find a way to deal some damage quickly, because those glares are just going to murder.
But CountZearro using that Blizzard Lance
to great effect,
taking it out.
Yeah, the ice weakness on Rubicon, very, very prominent. And CountZearro is pulling into the lead a little bit.
Yeah, it's that looting has paid out. Let's see what this Ordeals trip gives our runners as far as the item, the Baron Key, and the last boss in the set is an antlion.
So that Baron Key is going to open up 2 more bosses, one of which we already know, but more importantly, it is going to open up a character check, and it gives our runners another opportunity to get some levels before they traverse that hook route.
Yeah, it gives us not only the 2 bosses in the the standard Baron path, there's also the Odin throne, although a bit early in the seed to be thinking about Odin.
Especially with this character loadout, definitely very, very early. I mean, unless these runners happen to get lucky, and it's one of the few remaining free fights left.
Yeah, we are saying, Count is the first one to come down Ordeals, a little bit of an edge, but did not pick up Rydia. But he will be in the Baron area for a bit more. When rexxraul comes back, that's one less thing that he can do.
Very true. CountZearro is most likely going to be doing that Baron in spot first. And theoretically checking the Baron weapon and armor shops, hopefully see what we have there. Maybe it'll be something good, maybe not, before he traverses those Baron and sewers.
Yeah, but it's certainly been his style so far to check all those shops and check all those locations.
And in the first, section of a run, up to about an hour in, I really don't have a problem with that. The waterway check was interesting to me, but I'm still questioning it, even though those Blizzard Spears did help him catch up significantly in that Rubicon fight.
Yeah, and I suspect the plague fight might go a little easier for him as well, being a little higher level, a little further along. I'm still expecting to see a little bit of stress.
Yeah, well, he's kicking out 2k damage per. He's going to go ahead and Zerk one of his canes. That should keep the Q clogged and prevent the fatal from the count ticking down from going off. Especially if CountZearro Zerks his other cane, or he could just kill it that much faster. So, he's a couple of screen transitions behind, but really not much. Meanwhile, rexxraul coming against a vanilla Baigen in the first fight of Baron Castle.
Yeah, still has some of those AoE items, those Thor Rages, if it wants to throw those out, or it can just start jumping on the guy. CountZearro is gonna bail away from Baron. Did he never? Oh no, he's going and getting the free summon. There's another gamble, as there's a fair chance that it's not going to be something valuable, but it's Odin, so you might agree with what I just said, but it's Odin.
Could be interesting. Odin, one of those not what you really want to see. Generally, the most helpful someone you can get out of that spot is going to be your Sylph. But it's available for sale. So, I really don't agree with that in this particular case.
Yeah, Odin is the tough one. It's It's a one-hit kill on any enemies that are not immune to instant death, but it's a very low hit percent. So if you're going to go and check trap chests, like CountZearro's in Eblin Castle, there are monsters about. They are weak to Odin, if Odin even hits. Meanwhile, we see that the pretender to the throne is Leviathan. So the underground has invaded Baron and sets off a wave right quick. rexxraul continuing to make good use of that sylph. CountZearro, as far as I could tell, was not holding on to any hourglasses to make these fights easier to handle. So does get through, but the mages are not standing. And the same can be said for rexxraul. Taking some heavy Leviathan hits and not being able to heal past them. And that did it. That is going to be a wipe on the Leviathan fight. Going to have to come back into Baron and do it all over again. This does make Count's play of avoiding Baron in favor of the hook a little smarter, a little safer. Along the way, I guess in all that looting, CountZearro did manage to pick up a couple Ashura and activates one, so Rydia will have multiple ways of healing, one of them a bit more reliable than the other. So we have rexxraul back on the Baigan fight, taking care of it. CountZearro continuing to hit up just every shop. Rex, of course, could bail out after just the Bygone fight, but it's a long walk and not quite worth doing. So we're into round 2 with Leviathan. Let's see if these Star Veils help out. I don't believe Star Veil reflects Big Wave, but it will reflect the Ice 2 when that comes up.
Alrighty, I'm back. Technical difficulties.
Computers. Well, I shouldn't say that. We haven't seen CPU.
But as I was saying to myself, apparently, looks like rexxraul has gone ahead and re-geared up and is coming back in to fight the lesser Nope Noodle here in Baron Castle.
Yeah, we're already seeing those Star Veils actually are helping out noticeably with the Ice 2s. That could end up being all he needs.
Yeah, just a little bit of protection against the one-shots for his mages. And with Kane in the air all the time, not something to sneeze at. Meanwhile, CountZearro is going to find our character here in Evelyn Cave, and it is a Vanilla Edge.
Also not something to sneeze at.
Has this seed been sufficiently randomized? I question it.
I don't think CountZearro is going to question that Edge. I don't think Rex is going to question that Foo that's hanging out in Baron.
No, that's going to be. I think that's going to be quite the key to defeating Cagnazzo, who's hiding out in Rubicante's spot. That fight is just not something I would be looking forward to if I were either one of these runners.
Yeah, with this flag set, those are the two characters that are going to be gated by key items. And in this case, that's the Hook and the Baron Key, respectively.
So if you're rexxraul, you've got Foo. Your next stop is most likely going to be, in fact, it is at this point. It is going to be that Hook route. When you see Edge, are you going to ditch Rydia? Are you going to ditch Porum? Or are you going to ditch Edge?
Yeah, I think that becomes the kind of thing that says a lot about a runner. I can see a number of people ditching Porum and leaning on Foo as their white mage. I also see a lot of people who are just not fans of Rydia and will dump her at any opportunity. But she's been pulling her weight with that Sylph, so there is value in keeping her around.
True. Honestly, myself, I would probably end up ditching Porum because Rydia can help pick up some of the healing slack with both the Sylph and Ashura spells. So I would lean on Foo to be my white mage, with Rydia almost playing the role of a red mage.
Although at this point, it's Foo who's more of the red mage, seeing that he has Quake already, picking up Virus and Ice 3 off of that Magus Sisters fight. Didn't see what his white spells are, but they're probably, at this point, pretty strong as well.
Most likely, if he's already got Quack, right now offense is going to be the best defense. Why bother healing when you can just kill it faster than it can do any damage to you?
Meanwhile, CountZearro handled that ogre's fight, used 1 hourglass to get 20 levels for Rydia.
And that is going to put her, make her very, very powerful, catch her up, and picking up a defense sword in the meantime. That's definitely going to make everything a lot easier. It does amazing damage, and that 15 points to vitality is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, there are very good arguments for that being the best thing to ever put on a cane.
I'm firmly in camp Avenger.
You know, there are valid arguments for that one as well, especially on Zeromus. You cannot lose Berserk with that thing.
Rexxraul is finally grabbing his hovercraft, and honestly, I don't hate it at this point. Waiting to do it later so you don't have to come back and get it anyway. I don't know if I'd still make that option, but it seems to be working out pretty okay for Rexxraul.
And I would not be surprised if this guard's fight works out okay for CountZearro, even though they are hitting a little hard.
They are hitting a touch hard, but a couple of coffins and it's GG.
Yeah, these do not have the boss bit by default, so with this flag set, they are perfectly vulnerable to instant death and all those other shenanigans.
I don't know why CountZearro is messing around though. Why cast Odin when you can just use a coffin? But I mean, it worked, and those magic guards are dead. He probably just didn't want to feel like he wasted his time, grabbing that free summon off of Mount Hobbs.
Also entirely possible they ran out of coffins. I didn't see what his inventory looked like.
He had 6 before he used the first one.
Oh, well.
I'm utterly confused. Question from chat: what are summons that make you keep Rydia? I mean, obviously Bahamut and Sylph. The other really good one is going to be Ashura, and then the Leviathan summon. Leviathan can almost be viewed as a slightly budget Bahamut. He's going to cast the wave spell, but instead of doing percentage-based HP, it's going to be 8 damage based on Rydia's magic, and it is an AoE. And it casts just a little bit faster. So, having Leviathan on Rydia, definitely don't want to, pass that up. Speaking of wave, though, CountZearro not able to defend against the wave, and takes a wipe.
You better hope you got enough Thor rages. You're gonna need them. And we see Rexxraul's decision on discovering this edge. After much deliberation. Yep, he has chosen to drop Rydia and lean on Porum and Fu for any sort of healing.
Yeah, like I said, the logic to me says get rid of Porum, because you can always lean on Rydia for that extra healing with the with the Ashura and the self summons, and still have good attack damage or good magical attack damage with her, and especially since he saw that Cagnazzo is going to be the boss at the bottom of the top of top of the Tower of Babel. I question that decision.
I know he very well could just be thinking long-term damage, have 3 bruiser characters, and just try to lean on that. Maybe go Zerk strats towards the end.
Yeah, honestly, I think that must be what his mindset is. Is he's going to be going for the Zerk strats against Z. I have 2 white mages that can Zerk his party up because no one's found Bacchus wines yet, so there is a chance that Bacchus wines just aren't available. Meanwhile, CountZearro taking another wipeout against this wave of Cagnazzo. I don't know if he's going to want to go find a spot and level a little bit, or what he's going to want to do. Although it appears he's just going to continue banging his head against a wall.
At least once more.
What he needs to do, and what it looks like he's going to do. And he didn't do it, was lower his battle speed just a little bit, make the whole fight just a little bit slower before trying to come up against Cagnazzo. But it looks like he's retreating. He's going to go find a spot and do a little bit of a mini grind.
Yeah, sitting on 16 sirens, going to make some use of them.
Really, and in my own seeds, I found that this is not the place you want to use your sirens, because you get an egg, yes, but it's just a green dragon, and there are other fights that get you much more experience. In this room, actually, there is a summoner. It's a summoner and 2 blade men. Kill the blade men, and the summoner or conjurer, I forget what the exact name of the mob is, but it's just going to repeatedly summon more blade men. So especially if you've got something that can one-hit kill those blade men very quickly, you've got yourself kind of a almost a mini D machine grind.
Yeah, it's the exact same style and setup, and that works out very well. This is more akin to the Yellow Dragon kind of grinding, which has a certain safety, but you're not getting the numbers out of it. So you must really lean on safety if that's what you're going for.
As Gambit is pointing out in chat, Siren gives the rarest encounter, which isn't always the best encounter for your experience, which is why you don't see Sirens used to set up a D machine grind.
Yeah, I don't actually know what a Siren would get you in that slot. Or in that position, rather.
I don't know off the top of my head either. So, your guess is as good as mine.
rexxraul taking the uncommon strat of using mute on the magic guards. Which, again, they're not immune to any of this stuff, so it should have the effect of getting rid of the piggy and the mini.
Yeah, he could have just saved himself a little bit of time and if used a coffin if he had it, or using food to cast Fatal like he was going to, but Fuso, picking up Nuke, that's going to be helpful, because one of the keys to this Cagnazzo fight is not only managing the wave, but getting his HP down to a point where if you miss the wave, it doesn't hurt so much, because there is a formula behind how much damage the wave does. I can't remember it exactly. I'm sure someone in the chat knows the exact formula, but I want to say it's. Oh, I know it has something to do with the value of his HP divided by 20.
Yeah, it comes out to about 4% of his HP. Not precisely, but about.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, it's somewhere about 4 to 5% of his current HP, not his max HP, his current HP. And it looks like rexxraul is going to be, changing everything up, slowing down that battle speed, and preparing for this Cagnazzo fight. So if you were CountZearro and you've been slamming your head against the wall against CountZearro for quite some time at this point, what's your thought process? What do you change from what you're doing? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Well, changing the battle speed alone is, I guess, something different. And coming in with higher levels, so a little higher HP. But in terms of the actual battle strats, throw out those lip bolts, throw out those Thor rages as quickly and aggressively as possible. Don't worry about, wasting them by using it when he doesn't have the water gathered. Better to do that than miss it and get hit with a wave you can't survive.
Exactly, and it looks like CountZearro has learned that, queuing up the Thor rage before the water is even set up. So he should be able to prevent at least this first wave from coming out.
And there's also a little bit of backup safety in getting those canes in the air. If your timing is good, you're not going to get hit by it. Those canes are going to survive with, unscathed.
Also, blinking Rydia, always a good option. Really, what he should be doing is queuing up another Thor rage, because there's the water. He might not have got this off in time.
Yeah, we are about to see. Meanwhile, rexxraul has been handling this, hitting him pretty hard, but Cagnazzo comes back with the same.
Cagnazzo does get a wave off, so now rexxraul is going to be in recovery mode for just a little bit. But those nukes, there's going to be a massive source of damage. And Cagnazzo's in the shell, so that that eliminates the threat of those waves. Allow him to recover a little bit, get both of his characters up for maximum experience before he nukes Cagnazzo's face off.
And this is going to spin things around and put Rex back ahead. Should be our first one into the underground, but we are about an hour in before we manage it.
Which, for a lot of these seeds, seems about right. That remedy for 2,500, that is not something that you want to see. Hopefully, Rex. Hopefully, the Ice 3 hits real quick, and CountZearro eating another wave and wiping out.
That was barely enough to knock down both canes.
And rexxraul has done it. That Ice 3 being, that Fu being the key. Not only having the HP to absorb those waves, but also having the spell damage to just literally melt Cagnazzo's face. That's going to give him a massive advantage over CountZearro at this point.
Yeah, Count's going to go back and do a bit more of the old grind.
Using more of those precious sirens. Like I said, he's got, between the two canes and edge, he should have the ability, at least I think, to be able to, one or two shot those blade men and pick up that mini D machine grind fight that is available down here. You just got to fight it. Simbu dropping knowledge in chat about relative agility and the breakpoint for Cagnazzo, or at least for the Ruby spot, for the Rubicon spot. So for those of you runners watching, take note. Simbu knows his stuff. Absorb all the knowledge you can off that man.
And rexxraul on his way down the tower went and got a little bit of knowledge on his own, and I think we're going to be seeing rexxraul head back up the tower in pretty short order.
Either back up the tower or into Dwarf Castle. Looks like he's going for the former, and he's going to head back up the tower. So if you're rexxraul, at this point, is this your party for Z? Or if a Palom or a Cecil comes along, especially with that crystal sword, you haven't done a major grind yet. Are you going to grab them?
I'm of the mindset that I would be fine giving up one of the canes for a Cecil. Palom, I don't know that I need him at this point with a Fu, but that would require me to keep Porum or drop her for Rosa, so that someone else can be doing healing in the final fight, and Fu can be a bit of black magic utility as well.
Right, and that's kind of my thought process here is I would drop Porum for Palom in this particular scenario. Especially if you can find a Soma drop, because I remember that they were for sale. I don't remember exactly where.
Mm-hmm.
But let Fu be your white mage for the little bit of healing you're gonna need in that Z fight to heal up from that first nerfed Big Bang, and then just wreck face.
There's also the possibility, like, you've got Fu, you've got Porum, you've got 3 bruisers, and there's a 4th out there with Cecil, or even maybe pick up a Sid or a Yang. You can start going Zerg strats hard into the final fight, at which point you're not terribly concerned who you have as a healer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's really runners conundrum at this point. If what character comes along, do you take them, and who do you replace them? Looks like rexxraul is going to be headed back up to the top, or headed to the top of Lower Babel first, and he's going to grab that super cannon on the way back. Now, I didn't catch it, but did rexxraul peek the boss?
rexxraul did peek the boss. Dark Elf.
Oh, so Upper Babel required.
Extremely required. This is why once he came through, saw that, it's like, maybe you do Tower first, maybe you do Dwarf Castle first, but you see that bit of information, the decision is made for you.
Yeah, with Dark Elf being up here at the top of Lower Babel, I do not hate this play at all. I would almost be, no, we're still looking for the pan. So with 2 key items here, this is definitely the play.
CountZearro's making use of that Ashura. Don't know if he would be hoping for a cure or a heal out of, or a life out of that rather, but gets the cure.
In Count's situation, either or would be welcome. Now we just gotta hope that he's got a Thor Rage queued up. Otherwise, he's gonna be in for a world of hurt. And I think it's just life potions, so he is not gonna be a happy person. Yeah, he's gonna be eating this wave. And Kane's going to be the only one alive afterwards. So, oh no. Well, I was right. Kane was the only one alive afterwards.
Technically speaking.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
And the Dark Elf is technically dead. rexxraul gets objective 5 cleared, clears out the top of the tower. And receives
gets the pan. Twofer, baby.
We are on the hunt for a bard.
And a more interesting word has never, and more interesting sentence has never been spoken.
Hey, bards can be lovely to have around.
Maybe.
They're good at parties. Not necessarily good in your party, but good at a party.
Well, if your bard can equip a spoon with any kind of what's the word, proficiency, then bards are good. Otherwise,
So yes, at this point we are just hunting down a single character. We don't have much information about where he could be, and we don't have many resources to check a lot of other locations. No sand ruby, no package, no darkness crystal, no earth crystal. All of the key items that would help us out. Even this mist dragon.
But we hit a 3-fer in Lower Babel finding the mist dragon. So for the price of 2 bosses, we're gonna get 3 key items. So definitely a good thing. Now is Mist Dragon gonna have a package, an Earth Crystal, a Darkness Crystal, something that's gonna unlock another character check? Meanwhile, CountZearro is struggle busing against Cagnazzo, hoping to just keep Kane in the air faster than Cagnazzo can wave at him. But his luck has run out and takes another wipe.
Now, like we were saying earlier, you gotta be constantly throwing those Thor Rages and those Lip Bolts. Just always be throwing them. It's ABC. Always be casting Thor Rage. That works, right? That works?
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
As Chad is pointing out, taking the time out to do Baron Castle was the difference in that Cagnazzo fight for rexxraul. Having Fu is just massive, and we get a sand ruby over as a reward for defeating this, blowing up the super cannon. So now that gives us another character location to check. Now I didn't see it. I don't think either of these runners did peek the sand ruby spot.
They did not.
So that's something I would consider a mistake, because granted they're going to have to go up to Village Mist anyway to turn in the see if Viridia's mom's got it going on, and they can check Kaipo at that point in time. But that's them getting bailed out rather than doing it with any kind of efficiency, in my opinion. It could have saved them those couple of minutes. Check those shops, especially early on. Kaipo could have the goods.
Yeah, when you're running in a situation of having 2 character hunts, that's enough for me to definitely go visit Kaipo just for that information. Even if I'm not sweeping shops, I want to know is there a chance that I definitely need the sand ruby now, or can I rule that out and know that that's a useless item?
Even without character hunts being required, it's I feel that taking the minute or two, especially early on in the traditional loot route, going from Mist Village up to Kaipo, checking the shops, checking the Sand Ruby character, can give you just a lot of knowledge. It may not be a required character, but it could be your Cecil, it could be your Fu, it could be your Edge, and there's Edward. We are in ball mode. rexxraul getting massively bailed out by from not doing that check earlier. Free heal, return the pan to Yang's wife. He's gonna head underground, crack a couple of eggs, and why? What?
Oh, I know. Okay. No. rexxraul is pulling Eddie strats.
I didn't know he was practiced on Eddie strats. But the problem with that is he has to pass. He has to pass, so Eddie strats are completely viable in this situation.
Absolutely. This could be a ridiculous play, a ridiculously good play, or a ridiculously bad one. Either way, you'll love to see it.
Yeah, I did. Oh, and there's a Stardust Rod. That's going to make food that much more powerful. Get off a bunch of those early nukes, quick as possible, before everyone wipes out, and rexxraul lets Eddie take over.
Now, of course, Eddie strats, they are, even in their best case, kind of slow.
They're slow. They're very meticulous. You have to have your stuff together in order to pull that off. There are very few runners that I'm aware of that are practiced enough with Eddie strats to reliably pull this off. I'm not, and if he could do it, awesome. But I'm not sure rexxraul is one of those one of those runners that has those Eddie strats well practiced.
Yeah, for those.
But this is one of. Oh, and there's the Darkness Crystal.
Earth Crystal, so Darkness Crystal, and just the Crystal. All coming from Sheila.
Sheila had all the goods.
I don't know what the term is for someone who makes jewelry and crafts using crystals, but that is Sheila today.
Yeah, it's hey, yo, dog. We heard you like crystals, so we're gonna give you a crystal when you get a crystal, so you can crystal while you crystal. And by the way, here's another crystal.
The best part of all this is rexxraul still doesn't even have 10 key items.
Exactly. And as chat's pointing out, the moon was haunted. The majority of the underground was haunted. Really, all you needed to do was go straight into the tower, which rexxraul did. So, 1 hour, 5-ish minutes, rexxraul's in go mode.
Yeah.
Rex, what are you doing? Why are you are you looking for
free 10th key item?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He needs 2 key items.
The crystal counts, so he's got Crystal Hook, Darkness, Earth, Sand Ruby, Baron Key Tower.
Oh, I didn't count the pan.
The pan is hard to see, yeah. The pass does not count. That is not part of our 17.
Right, the pass does not count. Oh, and gets debated with a gold apple. So now here's the question: where do you go? How much time do you spend looking for that 10th key item, or are you gonna rely on Ed and Fu? Looks like rexxraul's gonna rely on Eddie and Fu.
I've got nowhere near the boldness to even attempt these strats, so I don't know what you need to kit up. I know you need star veils. You need walls.
You need lots of star veils, and you need lots of some item hopefully damaging of some kind to trigger the reflect off of Z. But it looks like he's gonna be. I'm confused at this point. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's gonna go for he's gonna go berserker strats and use why no, don't sell the Stardust Rod and use Fu as a healer and use Eddie as an anchor.
Huh.
So that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense and is a lot more in line with at least my knowledge of rexxraul's practiced strats.
You know what? That is totally fair enough, and just demonstrates how much value there is in getting Edward. He's useful for 2 strats. 2.
But now the question is wait, Rex, what?
Still hunting that 10th key item, I suppose.
Oh,
or
that's
looking
right. Yeah, 10th key. Well, he can't be looking for Cecil at this point because he sold the crystal sword.
Yeah, no, I think this is Rex's final party.
Yeah, this is going to be Rex's final party. He's just looking for a key item here, and he's going to crack a couple of eggs, kill off Eddie in the process. Eddie's going to die in one of these 2 fights coming up, and he's just going to sit there and eat dirt for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and chat brings up why I'm like harping on this 10th key item idea. That is when your experience gains from all battles doubles. Makes it a lot easier to grind when you're at that stage. But meanwhile, we do have CountZearro heading down to the Odin throne. Having gotten a fair bit more levels than when rexxraul was poking around Baron Castle. And yeah, rexxraul is being very specific on who he's keeping alive and who he's damaging.
What? I mean, there's obviously some reason behind it, but I don't know why he's keeping the other, only 1 Kane alive. I mean, obviously, the reason for keeping Eddie down is obvious.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where we're hitting strats that I've never seen and can never fully understand. I understand getting rid of Sid there. That's very understandable.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It's just keeping the second Kane down is what I don't understand.
So Rex is just really hoping that all this pays out with an actual key item that can boost the grind. If he is indeed going Berserker strats, which that's what it seems like.
And gets denied another key item. This is just not paying out for rexxraul. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ribbon is great. It's going to seriously help the magic defense for either, for Fu, or for, no, that would be the only person to put it on would be Fu. But yeah, just not paying off here.
At this point, like, most of the key items are over on the moon. If you're trying to keep that place haunted.
The only other spot to check is going to be Earth Crystal, but are you gonna risk that cutscene? I mean, if you're rexxraul, I mean you're ahead, and you know you're ahead at this point. You have to know that. At least I would be thinking big brain play. Do you risk wasting it on an Earth Crystal gamble? 2 bosses. You're not looking for any bosses. You're not looking for any characters. You've got your final party. Do you hunt it down for just another key item, or do you just kind of accept your fate at this point and do the grind without the double XP? And it looks like he's going to do the grind without the double XP.
Yeah, completely ignoring the Fame Arch, having dipped down there, but not even looked at who's on the throne there. So yeah, this is rexxraul just conceding the point pretty much, saying, yeah, it's nice to have the double XP, but it's not anything I can't get with just more grinding.
And still with some leftover coffins, these first couple of eggs are gonna melt away, and that's gonna be just a bunch of levels straight out of the gate for rexxraul.
So yeah, this grind, it's going to take a bit of time, especially if you want to get so high up that you're, totally safe, totally good to go. But CountZearro has spent a lot of time on that Cagnazzo fight with nothing to show for it yet. So rexxraul is not going to be terribly concerned.
Well, as Simba pointed out, we're an hour 20 in. Cagnazzo being the only roadblock on this seed, you can't. It's hard to know that. It would be impossible to know that CountZearro has had such a massive amount of problems with Cagnazzo. So he's got to be thinking go 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 go, because all the objectives were right out in the open. And with Fu learning nuke, that might be the trigger CountZearro need. No, he's going to go kill off Octomama spot, but then he's really got no real more choices in the matter. He's going to have to go face down that Cagnazzo.
Yeah, I mean, he already knows that's the route. That we haven't seen the magma key. I don't think we're going to see it. We're going to see it in the credits. That's the only time we'll see it. So at this point, you're just trying to get levels. You're just trying to get food, some spells. But if you're sitting on nuke, you're sitting on Quake, you can get more levels faster with other fights.
Yeah, I think at this point, CountZearro's just got to be really, really flustered as to that Cagnazzo fight, and just really trying to, do something. Maybe he's trying, as chat points out, maybe he's trying to get Fusoya to full health, to really properly eat those waves.
I mean, that Cagnazzo is very flustering. I don't blame anyone for struggling with it, for having, a tough go. That's kind of a nasty spot vanilla. It's kind of a gate in the game.
Yeah.
And to put Cagnazzo on it. Yeah,
that spot just has a high level of HP. and putting Cagnazzo anywhere that has a high level of HP just makes that fight so much more dangerous. rexxraul taking advantage of the fact that tents do not revive dead characters, getting some health and magic points back on Fu, so he can continue scrambling those dragon eggs.
Yeah, starting to hit the point of 2k HP on the valuable characters. Almost getting to where you might start to feel safe that if a big bang goes south, you'll still hold on.
Yeah, all of his characters have broken the 2K mark, even Fu. So, I definitely expect, at most this be the last one, or maybe one more egg to be cracked, and then we're going to be finding out whose butt we're going to be kicking tonight.
Oh, just short on that egg.
But Edge will smack it real hard, and, well, kind of hard, and will be able to take it down. While rexxraul continues his egg scrambling procedures, CountZearro has made the long trek back to Cagnazzo. Fu in the back pocket, everything else. So, time to see if he can finally take out this Cagnazzo, and he's gonna be behind the 8 ball already. He might just be looking to. I don't think. He might just be looking to survive the first wave. But it doesn't look good at this point. He might just be going for, eat the waves, but make sure the waves aren't that big a deal.
Yeah, two different schools of thought on this. Personally, I would have Fu constantly using Lit 3. It's not nearly as much damage as a nuke, but it's lit, and the lit scares him, and that's the number one thing I want to be doing right now.
But it looks like the second school of thought, he got enough damage out. He made that first wave survivable. So it should be pretty easy sailing from this point in time, as long as he can keep the HP of his characters up. Going with that age-old philosophy, the best defense is a good offense.
Yes, and as rexxraul finishes up his grind, heads down to visit the sewing machine operator before going off to the pub.
rexxraul doing the last couple of minutes of inventory equipment managing before he goes off and finds out who we're gonna be killing tonight. What that Z sprite is, and head up for a Z fight.
Meanwhile, CountZearro's still having a bit of trouble with that Cagnazzo. It's getting a little little dangerous. It has gotten Cagnazzo chipped down pretty far, so those last few waves were not that dangerous. But until you see the shell, you're worried.
Yeah, until you see the shell, waves are always dangerous. Especially when you're sitting on this low of life. You just want to, really what it needs to do is heal up with foo, or pay more attention, or vampire will work as well. Both for damage and some healing. At least enough to survive the next wave.
But before we see that next wave, we have to wave the Z flag and wonder just whose butt are we kicking tonight?
So before this loads up, so Humphin, who's your favorite Z sprite?
I'm always a fan of the Zeromus, the number 0. Personal favorite.
I saw that a couple of seeds ago that I was commentating. Personally, I'm a fan of people and their puns, man. Can't escape them. But I'm a personal fan of Kafkamus. So, yeah, and it looks like CountZearro took yet another wipeout to the waves of Cagnazzo. And here comes the moment of truth.
Okay.
Tachyomus. I'm not familiar with the reference.
It's a taiko drum.
This one is gonna fly over my head.
Yeah, taiko drum master. I've never played it. I've played a lot of rhythm games, but I've never played that one in particular. But you know what? If Rex's plan is to just bang on this, then that's a good sprite to get.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I regret many things, but not that one in particular.
Fine, I guess I'll let you have that one. Meanwhile, the first Big Bang has gone off, and rexxraul is just going to beat this drum to oblivion. Hopefully, it's going to break soon.
Unfortunately, this fight seems to be breaking CountZearro. Going off with another reset. And it really does feel like this Eddie Anchor is holding it down. It's getting plenty of turns in, especially with all the characters zerked.
There's another shake. So, are we going to be able to, advance the phase, bypass the Big Bang, or is this going to hurt? Yeah, it looks like we've definitely pushed the phase and, bypassed that big bang. Or at least we've got the queue so darn clogged that he can't get it off.
All right, that's the heart and soul of Zerg strats, and it works out well.
Oh, the Big Bang finally comes out, so I don't think we pushed the phase. I think we just clogged the queue. And that was full power. Everyone's alive except for Eddie, but we with only 60 HP, we didn't exactly expect him to survive to begin with.
Yeah, no, he's been napping for a while, and will continue to do so. No reason to bring him back.
Very true, very true.
And yeah, Fu with the Cure 4 cleans up pretty much the entire mess in one fell swoop. We'll have to reset with that black hole, but that's just a few turns and a few moves, not a big deal.
Yeah, all that takes is just going to be, I'm sure he's got enough Bacchus wines to reset out of that, or or he can just go straight into Falling Rocks, bypassing phase 2 completely.
At this point, I wouldn't even be bothering with the Bacchus. You're home clear.
Yeah, you're free and clear. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't have bothered with the Bacchus wines either. Just throw whatever weapons you've got left with edge, and throw a nuke and a couple of attacks with your canes, and this is GG.
And a bit of GG for CountZearro, clearing out the Cagnazzo fight and managing to do it with everyone still alive. So that's XP going on to everybody.
But unfortunately, it is going to be just a little too too late, as rexxraul has, does cause the crackle bang. Get your GGs in rexxraul. He is the winner of this seed with an amazing 135.45. So yeah, definitely, a time definitely to be proud of. Unfortunately, CountZearro not peeking the boss of Lower Babel, so it might be a while before he finds that Dark Elf hiding there. Speaking of our winner rexxraul, he has joined us in the channel. GG's to you, my good sir.
Thank you.
So walk us through that. You had us going there for a second when you took Edward. We thought you were going to pull some Eddie strats.
Oh no, that's that's a little too advanced for me. But I figured he'd just be Forum probably would have been a fine anchor, but a brand new character is just going to be the perfect anchor. So I didn't have to think about what the agility numbers were. I knew it'll be super low, especially when I put on the curse string. So
very true.
Yeah, very reasonable approach.
Yeah, I figured just going all berserking, especially when I started with the double cane start, that was basically going to be my plan throughout the seed. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the Cagnazzo fight wound up being a huge bottleneck. How did going through that battle feel for you? You did manage to get through it pretty cleanly, but I'm sure it was a bit stressful.
Well, it was it's one of those boogeyman fights, but I've had seeds where I've had him in that spot in the past, so I've seen it before. And the fact that I had found, I think that I didn't try to jam in Evelyn early. I full cleared everything on the surface beforehand. Allowed me to find Fu before getting there, and doing the extra two bosses. He had nuke, and I was kind of 50-50. I'm like, I could either just nuke him and keep him at, like, my first plan was just to nuke him and just tank the waves, and that's why I used the Ice Claw instead of the Thunder Claw on Edge there. But as it turns out, as the characters were cycling and I got back to Porum's turn, and she didn't have anything to do but throw the Thor Rage, so I took off the Water Shell on that first round. I might have been able to get through it even faster if I went another strategy or if I had the right claw on Edward, but yeah, I might have misspoke there, but I had the wrong claw on, basically, from the strategy. But it was still enough to get through it on the first try, so that made me very happy, unlike Leviathan and Plague, which I'm upset about.
Yeah, Leviathan definitely happened too. Baron Castle being like the lesser bottleneck of all this.
Well, yeah, it was one of the things where it's like, I can do this. And then I'm just like, well, maybe I should have just gone shields up with the Star Veils. And that's why I didn't spare any expense with the Star Veils the second time through. Like, nope, we are going to do this the safe way and get through it. So, yeah. And then with Plague, it was a wrong input. I had the life potion, and I targeted my alive character instead of my dead one. And otherwise, I think I would have been able to get through Plague on the first thing, but that was definitely a misclick by me. So that's definitely on me.
Yeah, that definitely looked like an error. You reset pretty quickly out of that once that happened.
Yep, and but then everything was smooth the second time on that one. It was still a longer fight than I would have liked because I only had a few characters and that count was going really fast, so I had to spend a lot of time reviving. But all things considered, I'm pretty happy about almost everything in this seed. Everything went pretty good. And I am glad that I peaked that boss at the top of Tower.
I was going to say, that really steered you in the underground, is just knowing where your last objective wound up being. You certainly didn't know that it would be 3 objectives, one after another, but...
Yeah, everything kind of, like, it was amazing, because this was I describe it as a jet seed with a real big roadblock in the middle of it. Another thing that I thought was a little, and I don't know whether or not it was the right thing, since I cashed in the tower key and found Demas there, I went to, even though it wasn't an objective, I went to Miss to check what Rydia's mom had, because I was hoping that there would be a key item there, because I was at 9 at the end, and I did a little bit more hunting than I normally do. I went to that chest of the Fey March. I went into Dwarf Castle to complete it. It might have been better just to start grinding at that point, but I don't like grinding.
Nah, and you had plenty of opportunities that could have played out and gotten you that 10th, and it just so happened that the Moon had some value. The Fey March bosses, which were very rude for their location, those had value. So the 9 were basically the 9 that you're going to get.
Right. Yeah, and that's where everything in the seed led me. So.
Very much so. So give us your thoughts on just how jetty this seed seemed to be. I mean, you've touched on it quite a bit, but just the seed as a whole, minus that one potential bottleneck with Cagnazzo at Rubicon spot. Were you expecting or even hoping for this kind of a jet seed, or were you thinking it's going to be more of a trolley slog?
Well, I'm never hoping for the jetty seeds, because then I think the people who are good at things like the Edward strats and everything are at a little bit more of an advantage. On the other hand, I don't like a full clear seed, because then those who have like really good like execution and everything, and I kind of find myself in the middle of both of those. So I like kind of riding right in the middle, and I think this has had kind of the best of both worlds for me, because having that big boss in the middle, the Cagnazzo fight, and I kind of knew what I was going to do to get by it, and didn't have too much problem with it, because I think I've prepped pretty good for it. kind of made me. I was happy about how the seed, like the structure of the seed, based on that. If it was pure jet, I would be a little bit more wary, and if it was more, I have to go to everything in order to find everything, then I'd be a little bit more wary. Being in the middle like that is my comfort zone.
So the seed really played to your strengths.
I thought so.
Well, the seed
Awesome.
also puts you at 1 and 2 in the Swiss round, and broadly speaking, we're looking at 3 and 2 for getting yourself into the play-ins. How do you feel for the next 2 weeks? Do you still feeling hopeful? You still feel like you're good to go?
Well, it's definitely a chance. I'm not counting myself out at this point by any stretch of the imagination, but I think things are going to have to go my way. Like if I've got more seeds like this, I think I'm going to feel pretty good. But Rando's going to Rando. I'm not going to stress out and think like, oh, I need to make it or anything like that. But it would be nice.
Yeah, speaking of the next round, are there any, taking a look at the standings, people in that 1 and 2 slot, with the week being almost up, are there any runners that you're specifically hoping to avoid, or any that you're specifically hoping to face in the next round?
I do not have a list of the competitors in front of me, so I do not know who's in that spot. So I couldn't throw any names out there just because I don't know who's at that level. If you've got some names, you can throw them out there, and I can tell you if I've got any strong opinions about facing them. But
the notable ones for me are going to be Neon Gray, Smebdi, Ekir, Night Dews in the 1 and 2 slot, as well as Bahamut X, all really good runners. Any thoughts on any of those names?
Well, Smebdi, Smebdi's a bit of an easy beat, I think.
Ooh, throwing the shade.
Oh, no, I know that Smebdi is doing the restream, and Smebdi beat me in the first round, so I did. So, no, I think they're all good. I think I've got pretty good history against most of the people that you mentioned there. I think I could win or they could win in any of those. So I feel like I think I like my chances in general in the next couple rounds, but anything can happen.
If you're not looking at the restream, I just want to point out what Smefty has done as a response to your commentary.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Unless he's talking about his win that he has over me, because I'll take that too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks. It's I'm in do or die position, so hopefully this is going to push me, be the motivation I need in order to do well.
Yeah, and I do have just one more question. It's going to seem a little bit out of left field.
Okay.
But we'll check. Who's your wrestling Mount Rushmore?
I think that's probably appropriate. Let's see here. Ooh. It's probably got to include. Well, one of my favorites is actually a female wrestler, Molly Holly, because we're both from Minnesota. I like that, so let's go with that. We'll put Brock Lesnar on there too. Again, rounded out with Shelton Benjamin and Baron von Raschke. There we are. Good Minnesota connections.
Question from chat: why was Edge named Kofi instead of Edge?
Well, I mean, I'm like, people might be confused as to which Edge he is. And anyways, I wanted to complete the New Day too.
Yes, gotta complete the New Day. So wait, I didn't see. Wait, who was Xavier? Because Sid was Big E.
Sid was Big E. Xavier was Yang.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
As someone who doesn't watch wrestling, I am completely out of my element right now.
Don't worry about it. I always try to make fun pop culture names when I can. My default is usually the characters from Parks and Recreation, but I thought I'd switch it up a little bit today.
Especially with WrestleMania right around the corner.
Exactly, we're in that season.
Yep, it is the road to WrestleMania. So for those of you who are uninitiated, don't worry about it. It's something us wrestling nerds get a little excited about.
Yeah, you can anytime I'm streaming, if you want to talk about it, throw up at the chat, whatever. But no obligation ever.
Same goes for you whenever I'm streaming, assuming it's not a race. Yeah, definitely feel free. Hop in my chat. We'll talk to Canvas.
All right.
Any last words, rexxraul?
No, I just I've been enjoying the majority. There's so much free enterprise going on, and a lot of great races in here. This is a really good, challenging, and fun flag set that we've got for this event, and the various different objectives really keeps it fresh. I've been really liking this event.
I agree. It's something that I saw the flag set and everything, and I saw that that this is going to be just an absolute blasty blast. But again, GGs, thank you for letting us display your race here on Free Enterprise.
Thank you.
And with that, we have CountZearro over on the Dark Elf fight. This is gonna just put him on the path.
Yeah, this is exactly what he needs to do. And this, if he follows this rabbit hole all the way to the end, he'll be able to, grab those last couple of levels he needs and take out Z.
But right now, I'm just appreciating that Dark Elf did Whisper on Kane, and then CountZearro did Jump, so we're about to see pigs fly.
Flying pig attack! Going for the instant kill. If I remember correctly, this form of the Dark Elf isn't susceptible to either stone or fatal, but it is susceptible to weak. So I'm surprised. I don't know if CountZearro knows that, or if he's forgotten it, or what's going on there.
Yeah, stone is a tricky one to know when to deploy, and even if you get that part right, it's a low hit chance.
But CountZearro does manage to take out the Dark Elf. Gonna get that not only the pan but that objective of defeating him. So hopefully he's gonna go smack Yang upside the head and go hit up Sheila and get his 3 crystals.
I guess the main thing to hope for is that CountZearro does follow the path completely. Great, taking that Sand Ruby, immediately going and visit Edward, not get sidetracked by save those crystals. There's the all-important sand ruby. There's CountZearro not using the pan yet. You need to use it before you can turn it in. But at least this visit is of some value. CountZearro not interested in using Edward as an anchor.
Probably more interested in keeping the second white mage and using some hybrid strats.
Yeah, so pretty reasonable and close to vanilla way of approaching it. And for those who are watching this VOD later on or on YouTube, want to amend rexxraul's recommendations for Wrestling Mount Rushmore would be Goldust, Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, and Cesaro.
Those seem like much better choices to me for that wrestling Mount Rushmore. But yeah, CountZearro has officially smacked Yang with the cookware and should be heading up to Sheila, and it looks like he is. So he should be getting those 3 crystals right about now.
And about 22 minutes after rexxraul finishes, CountZearro hits go mode, which would be about 22 minutes after he cleared out of that Cagnazzo fight, after he finally broke to the underground. So that turtle proving to be a huge bottleneck.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it was a bottleneck that just took CountZearro just way too long to break through. But he is going to be heading over to. It looks like he's going to head back underground. Is he going to be looking for those key items, or is he going to be going directly for the grind? Looks like he's going directly for the grind.
Yeah. Did already peep the Fey March bosses and saw just how threatening they were. So I don't see him being interested in revisiting. Yeah, looked at the tracker for a moment and contemplated, do I try to track down a 10th?
Yeah, but ultimately deciding, it's just not worth. Just go ahead and, he's pretty darn close. Just crack the last couple of eggs necessary and go for it.
Yeah, still sitting on those 8 sirens. Potentially more if his inventory is disorganized, I'm not sure. But that should be plenty to get you to a reasonable HP level.
Yeah, and he's really not worried about Palom at this point. Or Porum, rather. Wow, he switched the name. The troll is live. I read the name, didn't look at the character. Jeez. Looks like CountZearro's done with his grind, and he's just gonna sell off a couple of things, and try and make sure he has enough of what he needs to fully complete the Z fight, and there are the Bacchus wines that he needs. So I expect him to be up at Z here pretty quick.
But make sure to first visit our gainfully employed dwarf.
Looks like he is going to be going for that 10th key item after haul. Go ahead and back down to the Fey March. Is going to try and take out one of those 2 bosses down there.
I did see that one of them has the rat tail. I think it's Octomam. I'm never 100% sure with the credits on those in particular. They're right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what he goes for first. We know we have Ogopogo and Octomam. It's going to be Octomam first. Both of these are rude.
Yeah, and at least in these particular spots, Octomam in Leviathan spot hits really hard, really fast. The key to this is just going to be dealing as many hits as possible, as fast as possible. It's not going to be about the size of the hits. It's going to be about the number. Think Wing Chun. It's not hit him as hard as possible. It's hit him as fast as possible.
Yeah, but as those hits come out, those tentacles go away. Becomes easier and easier to manage the fight. You know, the wisdom in doing this, you're not only potentially getting a key item, it's still experience.
This is true, and with so many of his characters close to that 2K mark, you know, assuming this fight goes well, which it appears to be, it could end up being a little bit faster than, well, no, because cracking eggs gives 34,000 experience per, and they're a much faster fight than this, which only gives about 20,000.
Yeah, you're doing this for the key item, but that XP is a good secondary benefit. Opted to bring back Porum to get a bit of XP.
Which I honestly, I completely agree with. It's what I would have gone for. If you've got the choice to pick between one or the other, I would have picked Porum in this particular case because she's going to benefit a lot more from the experience than Fu is.
Yeah, Fu doesn't have very far to go up from just where you get him, really. There's the pink tail.
There's the pink tail. So is CountZearro going to check that pink tail spot, get one of those tier 7 items?
Or is he just going to say, that's 10, that's my grind? Because, you know, if your tier 7 item is a crystal sword, well, about a lot of good that does you. Maybe you throw it. That's about it.
Well, you can't throw the crystal sword is the problem.
Oh, right, you can't. It's not even good for that. It's too heavy.
Not aerodynamic enough.
Not aerodynamic. It's ninja proof. It's magically ninja proofed, is what it is. That seems like a thing in Final Fantasy. Magically ninja proof.
But you could come up with a Masamune, a Mirasame, an Avenger sword. All three, any one of those three would be very welcome in this group.
Yeah, as we're doing this grind, a quick shout again to Smepty and Gambit 017 taking care of the back end behind the scenes work on this broadcast. The restreaming and the tracking tend to be slightly unsung roles, but very much appreciated, very much necessary.
Yeah, without those two fulfilling those roles for us, we wouldn't be able to bring you this show tonight. So definitely show them some love, give them a follow. Check out their stream once in a while. and Gambit has the right of it. Make sure to give these runners a follow as well, especially CountZearro. Show him some love after not just FFing after the early dot done.
So yeah, with only 3 sirens left in his inventory, probably just burn through them all. Just give yourself the maximum safety for those big bangs.
That's what I would expect in this particular situation.
Yeah, his Fu got knocked out on that last dragon. Not doing quite enough to crack the egg properly, so taking a little bit of extra safety. Want us to make sure everyone's getting this XP.
And Fu not getting the experience isn't really that big of a deal. He's got a decent enough amount of gear where he should be able to survive most big bangs.
Yep, and that's Porum learning Cure 4, so both of the white mages are able to do what they need to do.
And that is the last egg cracked. So we should be seeing CountZearro fly up and away and go take on Z.
Now, like you were saying earlier, this is basically going to be hybrid strats, which is fairly standard, fairly typical. Just keep those mages in the back, keep them healing, keep them, zerking some of your fighters in all likelihood.
Yeah, the real key here is going to be getting both Canes and Edge swinging for the fences as early and as often as possible. Keep trying to keep everyone alive. At least trying to keep Porum alive. And make sure that Fu can either bounce those nukes off or just use him to nerf those big bangs. And if you're like me and have Dory brain, it's time to ask the question, whose butt are we going to be kicking again?
Well, I mean, if you didn't recognize the butt the first time, and it seems like a lot of folks didn't, you might still be asking the question. But I won't answer it just yet. We'll wait until we see it. It's one shake before being able to use the crystal, exactly what you want to see. And it's the return of the angriest drum. So we didn't get music this seed, but we kind of got music.
We got a musical Z, that's all that counts.
And there's the first bang, should be solidly nerfed.
Oh, Kane going a little low, but CountZearro having that Cure 4 properly timed, and everyone should be right back up at, survivable health levels.
Yeah, the one that the Kane that hit the nuke is the only one that's hurting at all, really. So I think CountZearro is gonna have an easy enough go of this.
CountZearro just wailing away on this drum. He's going to get the nuke off really early, and I don't expect it to nerf. I think that was just for pure damage.
Yeah, any nerfs after the first, they just get trickier and trickier. So hitting it a little too early or even a little too late is not uncommon.
true, especially if you don't have your agility properly anchored or have your battle speed turned up.
Yeah, that one hit pretty hard, but it was survivable.
Double cure 4s from the casters, and CountZearro's back up at full HP, ready to keep wailing on this drum.
Oh, these berserkers, this queue is looking pretty clogged right now. Finally get the Big Bang out.
And Oram is now munching on space rocks.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. Slowly holding on to that ether and just getting a black hole, so has a little bit of time to bring Fu and the rest of the gang up to a reasonable HP.
And they're falling rocks. We are about 12,000 HP or less away from this seed being over.
Yeah, but we're whittled down to just our fighters, but that's hopefully all we'll need.
And there's the flashbang. Get your GGs in chat for CountZearro. with an official SRL race time of 2:22:52. Speaking of CountZearro, welcome CountZearro. GG's.
GG's. Thank you so much. I feel beat like a drum.
Boo!
I mean,
Unfree zone. Unfree.
You had me fooled. What a seed! What a seed! Ooh.
It threw some rude stuff at you.
Hey, I think the seed just really wanted me to learn how to teach Kane how to surf waves. I tried. I really tried. But, you know, I'm not a surfer. Sorry.
Yep, that's fair.
And Leviathan and Onopogo, those waves, just so many waves. So many waves.
Everybody gonna be surfing. Surfing
right?
USA.
All right. Yeah, no. GG's the rexxraul. Thank y'all on the restream team. Thanks everyone.
You're so very welcome. Thank you for letting us restream this. So, real quick, thoughts on this seed? Especially with that major bottleneck you ran into at Cagnazzo with Ripken's spot.
That was brutal. That was so brutal. It took me a long time to realize, there's something else I could be doing right now. I have a Baron key. Why don't we go follow that? If it weren't for that, I probably would have just, I have these sirens. Let's just break through this brick wall with my forehead. I mean, learn how to surf. That's what I meant. Yeah, so, after that, though, it fell together pretty nicely. So, I like that.
Yeah, the underground had a very easy and friendly path if you managed to just hit the tower first.
Yeah, no, I went to both of the places in the game. I went to the planet, or the blue planet and underground. That's all there is, right?
Yeah, you don't go to the moon.
Wait, what?
Wait, there's a moon?
What?
No moon.
There's a moon in
What?
this game?
It's a space station. It's not a moon.
That's no moon. Okay, yeah, no. So, the moon's haunted, I guess. Oh, that's where the twin harp was. Sorry, no music. I did validate my seed, though. Do I get a cookie for that?
You get one round of applause.
All right. Okay, outstanding. Sewing machine operator, very important. Many props. Whew. Yeah, no, thank you for sticking through me with that. That was a learning experience. I had a practice seed earlier where I got bottleneck there. I'm like, wow, I should probably learn how to deal with this. I'll put that on the to-do list, and then it happened again today. So I need to hit the books. I need to study up. I need to rewatch this VOD.
That's what tournaments do. They force you to learn.
Yeah, definitely. So, that was a object lesson in Cagnazzo.
Yeah, there are just a lot of rude bosses that can appear at that Cagnazzo spot. Definitely one thing to put off as long as possible, in my opinion. But give us your thoughts on the rest of the seed prior to the bottleneck.
It feels so long ago at this point. It was a different life. It was a different time, my friends.
History.
Back in those days. Yeah, you went to Fabul. You didn't have a pan. You fought a boss. What even happened back then? I don't know. Can you remind me?
I think that response says plenty about this seed.
Exactly. I gotta see how rexxraul got 135. That's gotta be something fantastic.
Yeah, but we applaud you for sticking through and clearing out the seed, even seeing that. You know, it's a great tenacity, great throw, great show through and all that.
Don't give up. Never surrender. The seed will not beat me. I beat the seeds here. Anyway. Thank you for putting up with my audio problems. I need to do a little more testing, get that figured out. So thank you for bearing with me on that.
Alrighty. Well, any final words there, CountZearro?
Nah. It's a simpler time back then. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and again, GG's. And again, make sure to give our runners, both rexxraul and CountZearro, a follow. Show them some love for letting us restream their race for them, and give our stream team a follow as well. Myself, Radio Hupfin on the commentary, Restream in Smipty, and Gambit 017 on the tracking. So thank you so much to all of our Restream team, and thank you to the Free Enterprise channel, not only for hosting not just this race, but so many of our races, as well as getting the Fabul Gauntlet going for this tournament. Hupfin, final word belongs to you.
Well, I guess the final word is to say that we will go from here and send you all over to visit Flurry, another one of our runners and community members, for some more of this wonderful free enterprise action.
Have a working great Saturday night, folks.
Good night, everybody.